What's up, you filthy casuals? Welcome to Casual Shenanigans Gaming, a podcast all about the irreverent love of gaming.
Good job.
Good job. You
Tonight, I am joined by the interrupters, my fellow co-host, James.
What's up?
Jeremiah.
Hey, guys.
And the triumphant return of Debbie.
Hello!
What is on our plate for tonight, guys? What do we got?
We have news. We also have a main topic. We have mail. We have a Singularity shame segment, which this one is shameful. We have a 90 seconds with Joel. I'm going to do that this week. I'm doing 90 seconds with Joel.
Jeremiah,
How are you going to do 90
seconds?
seconds?
What?
This sounds like we have a really good show for everybody this week. Is what it sounds like.
Man, Dave.
Man.
Unlike any other week? Is that what it's compared to?
Oh no, it just really sounds like it. We just got a really good show tonight.
But first, we're going to do announcements.
It's like announcements before school.
This is what's happening.
We need more Rocket Leaguers. How many do we have now? On PS4.
Yeah, it has to be PS4.
One day we'll be able to do the cross-play effectively, but...
We have 5 teams. We need at least 6. And 8 would be preferable.
Or 12 or 20.
Right, multiples of that.
Yes. See, what else do we have?
I guess for announcements, it's not just things that we're doing, but things that have happened recently, including the DayZ event with the Greybeards last weekend. It was just, I think you and me, right, Jeremiah, that made it out to that?
Yep.
At least that are here tonight. That went really, really well after the first 2 minutes when we, got murdered by the guy logging into the event server at the right place for him.
Yeah, tell everyone really quickly how the event was supposed to work and then how you and I came to die immediately.
So the event was pretty straightforward. You guys join a DayZ server that's named Casual Shenanigans. Me and Jeremiah are in there somewhere near Electro wearing police caps. You find us, you shoot us, you violate our bodies and get video or screenshot proof of it, and then you win prizes like headsets, mice, Steam gift cards, all that good stuff. But the server was not locked down. It was still a public Hive server. So as the attacking team was starting out of the gate, 2 random guys logged in 10 feet away from me and Jeremiah and destroyed us both. Like, we were facing the wrong way. We had the binocs out, and our plan was to get footage of the initial attack once it started, and instead we got shot in the back. So we had to respawn a few times without telling the attacking team, who was sneaking close to the objective. We sprinted around the map and back in from 2 different directions. And the Greybeards brought us back in and geared us back up with the police hats. And we just continued the event like nothing happened.
Not only that, but those same guys showed back up at least 2 more times. Like, their bodies were everywhere by the time. Like, I don't think they understood that there were 8 people protecting us in like a radius of about 1/8 of a mile. Like, there was a system in place, and they kept running into it because they wanted to get to the honey hole and get all their stuff. And it did not go well for them. They kept showing back up and getting murdered over and over again.
Don't use that term again.
The honey, that's what it is called. I'm sorry. Anyway.
What's a honey hole?
All right, moving on. So the DayZ event did go really well. Thank you, everyone who came out. Dave, you're going to be putting up a recap video or a compilation, some sort.
Yeah, I'm
clip video.
Just waiting on Shane's footage.
Awkward pause on the podcast.
Eye contact.
I mean, did you want my footage, you jerk? Actually, our footage is basically the same.
Yeah.
Hiding, dead.
Yep.
Whatever happened to the guys that logged into the server?
We killed them over and over again.
Oh, those guys kept coming back? Those randoms?
Yeah, those were the guys who kept coming. We killed them 3 times before the rest of the group got to us.
Because what happened, James? Okay, so the Greybeards had set up this awesome perimeter. They had snipers and those the shipping container cranes on the docks. Snipers on the hill. We had guys with submachine guns in the buildings, and they just happened to spawn into the server in the middle of all that. So they killed us, thinking, look at all the loot these guys have, because the Greybeards had geared me and Jeremiah up ridiculously. We had tons of loot. These guys killed us, thinking, this is amazing. Look at all this loot. Not realizing they were in a security zone with 10 other people, all looking in at them. So, I mean, they got killed within 30 seconds, Jeremiah, of them killing us. They got destroyed.
Oh yeah, they got wiped every single time. They got wiped.
Yeah. they didn't realize what they spawned into. Like, it was bad for us, but worse for them.
Well, the Greybeards are really well hidden. You would have no idea you were wandering into a highly protected area unless you opened up the door to the shed there, the machine shed, because then there was like 2 people on each door, and me and Dave just sit in the middle like, hey! So...
And then a Snoov from the Dawnbreaker podcast actually got to join us. He had an absolute blast, and he almost killed me with laughter because we were hiding in that metal shed, and at one point one of the attacking team guys figured out, oh yeah, it's a metal shed, just the corrugated metal, I can shoot through it. And so he did. He put like 10 rounds through the side of the building, but with just like no warning, and Snoov squealed like super loud. It was amazing. It was like, James, it was like that yell you did when I was telling you to come look at that zombie last year, and you just found a whole bunch of really good loot, and you came to look at it, like how it was walking, and then it just turned and lunged at you.
That was amazing. You're like, hey, watch this. You're like, bah! I'm like, ah!
It was a scream of like true fear, like, no, my loot. Oh man, but that was a really fun event. They always are, like glitches or not, they're so much fun.
And we have nothing to announce right now, but when we get back into DayZ, which could be 3 years from now or 3 months, we'll see how it goes. We think we're going to be playing a lot more on the Greybeard server. Their server runs really well. Awesome performance. It handled everyone joining it without crashing, which is kind of a big deal for our events because, once again, the server was full.
Yeah.
And, yeah, stay tuned. Things are coming. But anyway.
All right. Well, let's talk about that main topic.
Do you want
We're talking about
okay, sorry.
all the games we are looking forward to playing this year and how it's going to affect the rest of our gaming life. So
Can I elaborate, because I was the one who initially, back when I was going to be hosting.
Maybe if you'd written a better description, we could have elaborated.
Well, I only wrote notes for myself because I was planning on hosting. But
the judgment.
Anyway, so I wanted to talk about, we're 2/3 of the way through the year. Yep, had to count real quick. We're 2/3 of the way through the year, which is nuts to think about.
How did that happen?
We're still in quarter 2 in DayZ time.
Which will
10 out of 10, James. 10 out of 10.
Which, being 2/3 of the way through 2015 is scary for a couple reasons that you guys know. I'm sitting here going, oh my, the year's almost over.
Says the youngest person in the group.
No, that's not what I meant. Anyway, think about it later. But, so this has been a great year for releases. Last year was a little bit lackluster, but this year has been great so far. And so I want to talk about, there are games we're excited for that are coming later this year, but there are also so many awesome games that came out already this year. So I want to know, are you guys like ready for more games? Do you wish those games would get delayed some? Are there games you're like, as soon as this comes out, I'm clearing my schedule and all the other games can suck it, I'm never coming back to them?
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah. Besides Fallout 4, that's a given. But yeah, what are your plans for the rest of the year, assuming nothing else gets delayed?
This is basically like the Happy Cast 2015 almost.
Well, happy, assuming nothing gets delayed. I mean, Fallout 4 could get pushed next year, and there would be a lot of bitterness.
Sure, Mike.
They said it was actually pretty much done when they announced it. So
they did say that. I feel good. And if there's anything you can count on with devs, it's that they are always 100% truthful, and nothing weird ever happens with the publishers. No weird issues.
Do not blaspheme.
I'm married to one, I know.
Not a game developer. We have no inside information.
Nope. None.
I was just going to say that for me...
Her last name is Howard, though, by the way. Debbie Howard.
Don't
start
that.
any rumors.
Stop it.
I'm pretty sure, seeing we are 2/3 of the way through the year, I mean, May 19th has already happened, right?
When The Witcher came out?
I have to check my schedule.
So I'm good then, yeah.
All right, so let's start with Debbie.
Yeah.
Debbie.
Yes.
What are you looking forward to for the rest of the year? And just keep playing GTA is an acceptable answer.
Dang it. Well, there goes my answer.
It is an acceptable answer.
Oh, well, that is my answer because I am still full steam ahead in that game.
I agree with you. Like, how many hours into it are you?
230.
It's not getting old.
No,
Debbie,
it's not.
Why are you... I've got my theory about why I love GTA Online so much, but why do you love it so much? Why have you played so much this year?
I feel like every time I hop on, it's like a new experience. Somehow they designed it.
Is it a new experience for you? Because I feel like you keep going back to this one place on the map.
They keep
No,
unlocking new
James,
clothes. That's
no.
what he's saying.
That's after the missions, James. Come
Yes,
on.
that's after the missions
The
and all the
after
booze.
party.
The after party at my place.
Group shopping
No,
trip.
but each time I do play it, I feel like it's a new experience. Especially like it depends on the combination of people that are playing too. It's like a whole new dynamic, and it's just so much fun just to experience the dynamics and how many different ways you can play that game.
Well, the great thing about that game is like it matches your mood really well. Like if you really feel like getting in and being like serious, you can do like the heist and you can do missions and stuff.
Like if I feel like going in and being a slut, I can be a slut and I can be a whore. I can do whatever I want.
What an empowering game. That's exactly what we all needed.
If I want to bash you on the head with a baseball bat, I will do that.
But I think this GTA Online is kind of like when we were all playing Battlefield. It's the game that if you don't know what you're playing tonight, you're playing GTA Online. Like by default, we're all going to hop in and hang out.
Yep.
And you don't even have to be good at it. It's still fun. So in that case, it's even better than Battlefield. Because you can suck. And if you suck, you can just screw around. Everyone has fun just crashing cars into things and shooting pedestrians. You know,
The
wholesome
explosions are
activities like that.
amazing.
Yeah, so like it's a game that pretty much anyone can pick up and play, although probably only people like above 15 should be.
Or if we really follow the ESRB, 18.
Who cares? But 17. I know those ages mean nothing to you now because you can't remember them, but it's a big deal if you're that age.
Don't worry, Jeremiah, you're not that close to it anymore either.
That's true. I'm not, and I'm happy about that. But for now. But with all the user created content and all the stuff they've been adding to it, I mean, the content level in the game like keeps going. I mean, it's
Yes, there's always new content, which is what keeps me coming back for sure.
yeah, there's unlimited content that you can explore, and the map is still so big. I don't feel like I'm tired of it yet.
No,
Oh, no.
not at all.
If they ever do a big DLC or expansion pack, we're all just like screwed.
I
Like,
just
just
hope
like-
they do.
Yeah, me too. We wouldn't be playing games for the next at least year if they expanded the map.
It's
I
funny
mean,
because
just add like a completely new like element to it, like
Like
you know,
what?
like they do at Christmas. They do like
Oh,
they do
yeah.
different weather and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if they did like the whole alien thing, which they've been talking about for a long time,
If they do
or
if they do
if
a
they do
zombie
zombies,
one,
I mean,
oh
that
my
could-
gosh.
Then I never want to
Pretty
play DayZ because GTA
much
does everything else better.
except for shooting, the shooting in GTA does not feel very good.
Well, you're not very good at it, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
the leaderboards say otherwise.
Not really. If you, they say that Tyler's amazing, is what they say. If you play it like a first-person shooter, it's disappointing. If you play
Yeah.
it like a console third-person shooter, it's fine. I mean, it's just as good as Gears of War or any of those third-person games. But it's an action game. Like it's not.
Exactly, it's an action game. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it's-
each time
it's
you
not a
level up, you
shooter.
unlock new content. So that is always something.
The
So
main
back-
I have a
against zombies
goal.
would be a lot of fun. If it's
So back to the question if Debbie's actually going to play anything else this year.
Yeah, Debbie. What are you looking forward to for the rest of this year? Is there anything you're thinking like, oh, maybe I'll slow down on GTA? Like, are you going to come back to The Witcher?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna come back to The Witcher. I haven't played that actually in a few weeks. Sorry,
You're going to
Dave.
try Fallout 4.
And I'm really looking forward to Fallout 4 for
Yay.
sure.
Now, have you played 3 in New Vegas?
I played New Vegas for about 8 hours.
Okay, but you
And-
love Skyrim, so you
Oh,
like
gosh,
that
yes.
that type of thing.
Yeah, and that engine. That I have this like connection with that engine now. It's just it's there.
Connection
So
engine.
does Bethesda.
You're one
So
to talk.
that's your plan for the rest of the year is just Fallout 4, or is there anything
Yeah,
else?
and if they happen to come out with another Skyrim, just surprise later in the year.
You die.
I'm done. See you guys.
I mean, GTA Online, Witcher 3, and Fallout 4, those are not small games. Those are like the
No.
biggest games out there. And they're all really good.
It's funny
about-
because those seem to be like quenching the drought of games it has been for the past
Yeah.
2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the reason why we play GTA so much because we haven't had that fix in a
Yeah,
long
I
time.
agree.
You weren't there for the payday fix that we
Yeah,
had.
that was
Well,
brief though. That's like
yeah.
that's one of those games
That
that,
was like a
burns
quick hit.
brief and hot.
That
It's because
candle
we were
burned
all
brightly.
afraid to play it.
It's true.
Honestly. It's like, no, I'm not going to play for an hour. I'm going to play for 6 hours, and I'm going to not get sleep tonight. So I don't want to touch it.
I still bought like all the DLC for it though. Like up until I think about 6 months ago, I finally stopped buying the DLC.
Look, there's games that are like weed. You just hop in, you blaze it up with your friends, and then there's black tar heroin, and that's Payday 2. So we'll
what about H1Z1? Debbie?
Oh yeah, Debbie, you were really excited about that.
I am, and I still am excited about it. They are redoing the map.
Really? What are they doing differently?
They are moving towns
good.
around to make more sense. They're making the cities a lot bigger.
Okay.
They're not planning on expanding the map anytime soon, just because the size it is right now with the player count is just fine and peachy.
I agree. It doesn't need to be
and they're
bigger.
gonna redo like the mountains and hills, because right now they're really awkward. They don't seem like natural
you think?
environments.
Yeah, they look very gamey.
They do look very gamey. So they are going to make like actual mountains and hills that would appear in real life.
I mean, that was my biggest turnoff to that game. Like, I liked that fact that you craft, and I like some of the, lighting elements and stuff, but like the map was just really bland and generic. It didn't feel like.
It's also getting an update
real.
with like shadows and whatever those fancy graphics stuff is. Dave would know.
Shadows.
Those bump maps.
Yep, I bet they're really cranking up them bump maps.
The bump's gone from 0.4 to 0.6. Extra bump. That brick's gonna pop out.
I love feeling them bumps.
When it comes to like the terrains though, like I've got a thing doing so much work in CryEngine in the past that if I see an environment that was created with one of those round brushes, like where they just use the round brush shape to like make the hills, like I can't not see that, where everything it just has the rounded off shape. Like there's no natural flow to the mountains and whatnot. It's just it does look really gamey if you're not careful.
He throws his keyboard. He's like, my immersion's gone.
And then I just cry and sob quietly.
All right, so Dave, what's the rest of your year looking like?
The rest of my year is like the last part of 2014, honestly. Like, I want to go back and play more Alien Isolation because I really enjoyed that game.
No, realistically, what's the rest of your year going to look like?
But no, it's the latter half of 2014. Alien Isolation, Shadows of Mordor. I want to beat both of those because they're fantastic games. I'm halfway through Shadow of Mordor. I think I'm like 20, almost 25% through Alien Isolation. So I'm making slow progress.
You're not making. All right. You know what? Sure.
Yes, you got something to say, Jeremiah?
Just let him have it. Just let him
Let's play a
have
little
it.
game let's play a little game called Let's Be Honest with Ourselves. What are you really going to play this year, Dave?
I have gone back and finished games like Tomb Raider. I started.
We're not being honest yet. Okay.
Tomb Raider, I played an hour of and then didn't play for a year. And then I came back and played another 24 and finished it.
I believe that you will eventually limp through those games. I'm saying, what are you thinking? Like, here are the games where I'm clearing my schedule. These are the games that I'm spending a lot. That's the topic, not what games do I intend on finishing someday. Because I have an Attila campaign I've been doing on my own that I'm totally going to get around to someday.
So Dave has that Humble Bundle.
My phone keeps popping up and reminding me when new ones come out, and I was like, there's no need. But I still have not finished the main quest in The Witcher 3. I'm at 185 hours now, I think. And then I found 2 more side quests this week. In the 1 hour that I played, I found 2 more side quests. And then the expansion pack for The Witcher 3 comes out in the first week of October. And then there's also New Game Plus that just came out for The Witcher 3, which lets you restart the game with all your equipment and loot and gear with leveled monsters. So yeah. City Skylines, actually, I've been getting more into that again recently. Slowed down over the summer, but
did you? I didn't know that.
I mean, barely. But I played a lot more now. Like it's my go-to like background.
Your slow
game.
is pretty damn fast compared to the rest of the population.
Yeah.
So Dave, what about that Arma expansion?
Oh, we're getting to that. That's not
okay. Sorry to jump ahead.
Dave, you've played 93.9 hours in the past 2 weeks in games
of City Skylines.
No, games total 93.9.
Oh well, Arma and City Skylines don't count because they idle probably 2/3.
Oh, they don't count. All right.
I mean, take 2/3 of the time off. Like I'll be working on an Arma thing, and I just leave
Dave,
the
that's
launcher
like
open.
another full-time job. more than another
actually,
full-time
Arma
job.
3 is that because that's been 60 hours in the past 2 weeks.
Well, I mean, that's almost entirely idle time. We've played actual playtime maybe it was like 6 or 7 hours.
Yeah.
I'll add in some mission testing. Let's call that 12 hours of actual playtime, but there's a lot of idle time because I've been doing admin stuff for Arma, and I was going to mention that we're actually about to roll out an update to the mod pack that cuts it down, and also it's going to basically give it Steam-style auto-updating. So you just log in, it checks your files, and then you launch the game, and it's good to go. And our server is actually already up for distributing the files, and it looks like it's going to work really well. I mean, we're going to be playing Arma for so long. Like, when I was looking at the cut-down content pack for our mods, I was like, there's so many things that I'd like to add. Like, man, if I added this like unit of police, or this pack of police units, like I could make some submissions for that. But then I'm like, we have so much traditional content to go through first. Like, there's no need to add anything police related or SWAT team or like anything, dinosaurs. Like, there's no need. There's so much other stuff for us to do first that we already have.
We actually have a group working on Arma to narrow that down. They're called the Hand Slappers. So when Dave is about to click that mod, they're like, "No, Dave, no."
We formed the Arma Council of Elders that votes on content,
and that actually isn't a joke.
No, we held a meeting this week and I guess finalized the final mod pack. But
now, Dave,
that's the nerdiest thing ever said.
Get your drool rag ready. What if they came out with a Witcher 3 total conversion mod for Arma that lets you like create your own Witcher 3 missions and stuff in the Arma universe?
So that's supposed to be coming still. Like, there's some confusion about whether or not it is, because it came out for the Witcher 2 Red Kit. It was I
was like, wait, no, that's not a real thing for Arma 3.
for Arma 3.
I was like, what?
Are you describing a Witcher mod for Arma, or are you describing?
Yes, I'm saying like a Witcher total conversion mod for Arma that gives you like the whole thing of Altus, but you can create all your own missions and like. It wasn't a good joke, Dave. I was just trying to combine two of your obsessions. I'm sorry.
But you don't understand. Like, Red Kit is still possibly coming for The Witcher 3, which would let you create your own environments, quests, characters, and all that stuff. Like, you could create a quest line with spots you go to, clues you find, all that stuff. If that comes out, Arma, I love you, but there's someone new in my life. But yeah, that's basically me, Witcher, Arma, Total War, and City Skylines.
Cool.
DayZ, hopefully coming back soon, but I mean, it's
when it's ready. It's coming back when it's ready.
And that's actually the last thing I wanted to say for my stuff is that I've been so happy this year that I've been able to set DayZ aside and like just not think about it, because I'm looking forward to going back now, because there's so many other fun things I'm playing. I can just go back when it's ready and just not worry about it. It's just awesome. Like, there's so many awesome things to play this year.
So Dave, are you not playing Fallout 4?
I'm not ready to get on the Fallout 4 hype train yet, James, to be honest with you. Like, I might be a bigger Fallout fan than you and Joel.
Just because you've read lore doesn't mean you're a bigger fan.
I've read the entire Fallout Bible, and I played it before you guys, but I'm unplugged from Fallout a bit right now. I mean, Geralt has my heart, so I feel like, though, once I beat the main quest in The Witcher and finish up those side quests, there really can't be that much left.
But when is that going to happen?
We're gonna have to revisit this. You think you're a bigger fan?
Okay, I'm interested.
Sounds like a casual conversation coming up.
I've spent some Fallout money in the past and some Fallout time.
I've spent quite a bit of time too.
Anyway,
but yeah, I'm actually very excited for Fallout 4. I'm too distracted to be on the hype train just yet.
Now, do you think you'll play it at release, or you think you're gonna wait?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So you're a little bit on the hype train.
No,
I'm not on the hype train. Oh, when it comes out, oh yeah, for sure, definitely on the train then.
Oh, and then I just realized Metal Gear Solid comes out next week, and I have a pre-order of that too.
Next week?
Not next week.
September 1st, a week and a half.
Okay. Like almost 2 weeks, but yes.
Crap.
All right,
Dishonored
James.
HD collection comes out next.
James, what's the rest of your year looking like?
I mean, I've got a game section called Backlog.
Oh, don't we all? I've given up on the rest of my Steam library. We don't go to that folder.
No. We're not talking about digital. We're talking about physical. We're talking about a cabinet of physical. Let's see. I definitely plan on getting back into GTA with you guys soon, and doing some Arma stuff. I mean, of course, I'm looking forward to Fallout. That's going to be my absolute schedule clear
Right.
But lately, I mean, I've been playing a little bit of Borderlands for the PS4. But lately I've really been on the indie kick. I told you about this, and that'll be actually one of the games that I suggest. Spoiler, just going back and playing these games that kind of capture the essence of the old gaming, but have all the new comforts of saves and good mechanics and stuff. So
responsiveness, controller support that actually works. Cool,
so it's hard to tell.
that.
Like there's like I get excited about like these big name releases, but then like this little game will hit you. I mean, like you guys never would have expected Rocket League to be what it is. I mean,
remember Rocket League.
So, but yeah, I mean, it's mostly Fallout 4. Let's just be honest.
Okay. All right, and then for me, man, this year has already been nuts, and it's hard because like when Metal Gear Solid 4 came out, I played through it in like a week. I mean, it's one of those things like I need to experience it. The same thing when Uncharted 4 comes out. That's a marathon game. You do it in one sitting and you're done. And that's how I need to experience Metal Gear Solid.
That's called a rental game. You got to do it before you have to take it back. Or a 7-day return policy game.
Yeah, that's a GameFly game. But no, I'm planning on doing that at some point. I don't think it'll be when it first releases though. And I'm planning on playing Fallout 4. I think this will be the first Fallout game I really get into, but I don't know if I'm going to be doing it at release. For a couple reasons. First is I've been getting back into car games this year. I've been a car enthusiast most of my life, but I haven't been able to actually do much in the way of car enthusiasm in the real world.
You have a good future in front of you.
Why?
For car games.
Oh, I do. But I mean, in the real world, I hadn't been able to be a car enthusiast for a few years, and I'm able to be a little bit these days. I have 2 project cars right now.
Tell us about your Murcielago you just bought.
Oh, yes, exactly. Using this one simple trick I learned on YouTube. So I'm really getting back into car games. So I've been playing a lot of Forza Horizon 2 when I want that kind of medium, fun, laid-back car game. And if you think Forza is not a laid-back card game, that tells you how much I like car games. Project Cars for when I really want to race. And then I'm looking forward to Need for Speed because I love customization. I love customization in cars. Yeah. And I care deeply about making cars unique. I've talked about this before. I don't really care about fast cars. Like everyone who likes cars likes Ferraris and Lamborghinis and stuff. Like obviously those are cool cars. But like if I was a multi-millionaire and had like a 30 car garage, there wouldn't be a lot of supercars in it. There'd be a lot of weird one-off beaten up, haggard old pieces of junk in it that I dream about fixing up one day. Because
you're halfway there without being a millionaire.
Just because I have two kind of weird cars that have lots of issues right now. But I like unique cars. I like cars with cool stories or unique setups. Cars that are fun. I don't care about fast that much. I care about fun and sporty and unique, special cars. Like I have a very emotional connection to cars, and I don't want to talk about it more in the podcast because you guys will make fun of me. But
we all have our things, Jeremiah.
There's a spectrum of car games. Where I was going with, there's a spectrum of car games that fulfills that for me. And Need for Speed Underground was a very influential game. That series, those 2 games, when I was growing up, those were very influential on me and my love of cars. And I'm really looking forward to this Need for Speed because it seems like it's going to be a return to form for the series, and I'm really looking forward to that because it rounds out the spectrum of Need for Speed on one end, Project Cars on the other, and then everything else in the middle. And to answer the Midnight Raids question, I absolutely want to get a steering wheel and pedal set up because driving is fun, but I've hit the limit of controllers for a while. Like I can't modulate a controller. Like it can't modulate any faster. I can't pump the different triggers any faster. Like I can't really. You can
maybe with the Elite.
Maybe, but I'm not going to spend $150 on that controller because I can spend $300 and have a complete wheel setup, like stand and everything. So I do want to do that at some point because I love driving so much, and it'd be a good opportunity to drive a bunch of cars that I'll never probably get to drive in the real world. So at some point, I really do want to do that. Synthbent, R Factor does not do it for me. I've tried it. Project Cars could be that game for me, but and there's just a variety of reasons. I don't like stuff that feels super simmy for the same reasons Arma 3 gets distracting sometimes. Like it's really hard to be super immersed when a car's like flying up into the heavens and there's weird technical glitches going on. Like there's something to be said for Forza's extreme tire screeching and smoke everywhere. And, I want fun. I do want fun. I want to feel like I'm behind the wheel of something really, really powerful. So, I'm really excited for Need for Speed. I'm excited possibly for Forza 6. And then Singularity 80 and I, Steven in chat, we have a fun car series that's going to be coming out in a couple of weeks that we're really excited about. That we're hopefully going to keep going through a couple different games. But so while I'm doing that, I'm thinking I'm going to just put Metal Gear Solid on hold. I'm going to put Fallout on hold. I think I'll rent Battlefront when it comes out, probably on the PS4, so I can play with Joel. Because I want to play it with Joel for a week or so, and then I think once the Star Wars novelty's worn off, I'll be done with it. That's if it's good. But the big reason I'm not gonna play Fallout 4 yet is The Witcher 3. And I think, Dave, I'm making a prediction, and I don't mean this as a slight to anyone else in the group, but I think you and I are the only people who are going to finish The Witcher 3 in the group. Just because it's such a massive game that I think realistically you would have to love it as much as we do to want to stay with it for the entire thing. And I think it's the most complete RPG I've ever played. Yeah. And I think their initial claim of it being a benchmark, a crown jewel of the RPG genre is definitely true. And to properly enjoy it, I think is definitely going to be 150 plus hours for me. And I don't want to rush it. I want to take my time, and I want to wait for stuff like New Game Plus doesn't matter to me. But the expansion and stuff, I want to play it all at one time, because when I'm done, I'm done. I just know I want to play this game all the way through, and when I'm done, I'm never going to play it again.
Honestly, I'm very glad that I've taken it slowly and just really just absorbed it like a sponge. Like, it's the way to go if you really appreciate the series and the universe.
So, Jeremiah, what do you think about the mods in Forza 6?
The modifications in the Forza series in general?
No, they're the mods that they added in Forza 6.
Oh, like the perk system, like where there's certain challenges and stuff that you do to get more money and points. Is that what you're referring to?
Well, let me look it up.
I mean, they're calling it the Forza 6 mods system. Let me bring it up so I can talk more about it. It doesn't mean a lot to me from what I read earlier this week. I don't really... there's leveling, there's prizes you can unlock. They do that in Forza Horizon 2.
I think there's things you can change about your car before races. I think that's really where...
Right. But I don't really care about that because I turn off all the assists anyway. I turn off all the assists. I do everything manually. I'm not interested in things like that give you try this different thing about your car and we'll give you a perk. That doesn't appeal to me. I want the raw racing experience every single time. So I don't know. That doesn't do anything for me. I might try them just to see if there's some cool ones in there, and there probably are, but I don't think it's something I'm going to be interested in long term, in my opinion.
Can I answer for Joel here too?
Yeah.
So I know he's going to listen to this. Well, even beyond that, let's just, the next Dark Souls, the next Fallout, all obvious answers. But for Joel's most loved game this year, seeing he's not here to defend himself, I just want to talk for a minute about Joel's Gwent addiction and how it's starting to scare me. For those of you not aware, Gwent is the card game from The Witcher 3. And I showed Joel how to play, and he now plays more Gwent than actual Witcher 3. Not only that, but we purchased actual real-world card decks of Gwent. And he wants to play every day at lunch. Every day. I was very proud at first, and now I'm just a little bit concerned. I'm making a Gwent board right now so we can play more often.
Oh my word.
And this was not my idea, but he started talking about how much Gwent he's gonna play the next time we go on the beach trip. He's like, man, it's just gonna be Gwent all week long. So I'm gonna actually put in for Joel here, Game of the Year, Gwent.
Hey, next.
Are there gonna be candles and lanterns and a stein?
And that music playing on a loop for 6 hours.
I keep catching Joel humming the music all the time. He was walking up the stairs with his lunch today. I had a table and I was eating my lunch. I heard him humming it coming up the stairs. The Gwent.
Maybe we'll get side by side beach houses this year for the few people that want to nerd out all week and those who want to enjoy the beach.
Yeah, because there's all the people in our house that don't want to nerd out about something.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah, not allowed.
Not.
We're definitely getting a smaller beach house next time so that we can find each other. So I'm like, where are all my friends? Which floor are they on? But it was cheap.
I can't say much though, because each time when we're actually about to play Gwent, like we're like in the cafeteria at work, and Jill's like, "Do you want to play the music?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And then we have it blasting from my phone the whole time we play for like 45 minutes, just on a loop.
Well, maybe it's time.
My versions.
Next week on the Shamecast.
Don't know about my Gwent.
Wow. All right. Well, I guess that's pretty much it for the main topic.
Yeah,
I kind of don't want to talk anymore about that. Thanks, Dave.
I just wanted to end it on a low note, just for you guys.
Awkward
All right.
note.
What's next?
Debbie, do you want to sing it? We're on the news.
Sing what? Oh,
The news.
sure. News time.
Dave, what you got?
I've actually got a bit of an unusual story. It's kind of right up my alley, though. It has to do with modding, Unreal Engine 4, takedown notices, all my favorite topics. There was a total conversion mod. They were doing a fan-made rebuild of Resident Evil 2 Reborn in Unreal Engine 4. I'm not a huge fan of the series, but anyone who sets out to recreate a game in like a total conversion form, or in this case a rebuild and a whole new engine, that's impressive. You got my attention there. The thing happened that happens way too often with these huge ambitious mod projects where they don't own the IP, and that's they got contacted by the developers and they said, "Hey, look, we need you to shut this down and not do this." But unlike most of these cases, they said, "We need you to stop making this remake because we're actually making the remake. And we think what you guys are doing is awesome, and it definitely proves that there's a excitement for this. And speaking of which, we know it sucks that you guys have to shut your work down after working on it for a while. How about you fly out, meet with us, and help with ideas, and maybe we'll talk about possibly working with you guys on the project." So this just struck me as a really cool scenario, because how often do you have there was a Halo RTS mod coming out for Command & Conquer Generals back in the day, and they had some professional quality work, and it was looking really good, and then Microsoft, swung the banhammer and shut that down. But in this case, you had the developers kind of opening a chain of communication with the mod developers and offering to make them a part of the actual thing, and that's like every modder's dream right there. Like the thing you're working on, the thing you love. Even if it's just an opportunity to fly out and be a part of it, even if they don't get like actual jobs out of it, that's a really cool scenario, and probably the best case scenario you can hope for this kind of thing.
I wish Valve would do that. Some of their Black Mesa or something.
Oh yeah,
modders. That's what you need to do, Dave. You need to start making that Arma 3 super mod.
Super mod?
The super mod.
Which one's the super mod?
I don't know. Something that makes it not broken.
Oh, maybe like the year and a half long campaign with cinematics and voice acting and.
Wait, I count as a voice actor now? Sweet.
Oh, that's right. You don't know the details of Mission 9, do you?
Am I a voice actor for that too?
No,
I'm not.
No,
James is. You told me James is going to be doing some voice acting.
Wow, spoiler for everybody.
What is this?
All the people who are on the edges of their seat for that.
Who is that voice? He's amazing.
No, I'm planning on warning the entire group ahead of time that James is going to be the commander on the radio, because all I want is to have the recording going great. Everyone's in the chopper. The command radio comes up and everyone's like, "It's James! It's James, guys!" I'm like, all right, restart.
That's what you just do, the cinematic music over the recording.
Yeah, it's super dramatic. All of a sudden you can't hear the radio.
All right, and then my news story is Steam machines no longer have a suspend and resume feature. So both current generation consoles, and yes, I'm excluding the Wii U from that, they have a feature where you can put them to sleep and then wake them back up in a couple seconds, and it's really cool and everything. And Steam OS was going to have that, but official Steam machines are no longer going to support that. Going to sleep is not an issue, but they've been having an issue resuming. When you resume, the system wakes things up in a certain order, and they were discovering that they couldn't wake all controllers up reliably, because being a PC, you have lots more options and lots more different hardware configurations you could possibly have, and they didn't consider the feature to be reliable enough, which some people are understandably bummed about. Personally, I don't really care because I did a test and my PC gets to the login screen 5 seconds faster than my Xbox One resumes. So SSDs are awesome, and that's not really going to be an issue for me. But if you have a smaller Steam machine running like a mechanical hard drive or something, it could be an issue, understandably. But that's no longer going to be a feature, which is a little bit of a bummer. But at this point, I just want them to put out the Steam machines so we can see if they're any good. So that's my story.
Yay.
James, what you got?
It's not a big item, but 2DS, the MSRP is dropping from $130 to $99. I mean, I know they just came out with the new 3DS with the extra, if you want to call it, analog stick. It's like an analog like piece of like dirt on your controller, with other stuff built in. But yeah, goodbye. It's just where they're going. They're going down. Oh, that's a really good price, especially if you get like a pre-owned for like $80 now. If you want to get like a 2DS, if you don't care about the 3D feature.
I wouldn't. All right, and then Debbie, did you have a news item?
Nope.
All right. General news items. This is Debbie's news item. Rainbow Six Siege has been delayed until December 1st.
And everybody cries.
I almost wanted it to be Rainbow Six has been deleted. It's not coming out. Someone forgot to set the backups.
That's not nice. Supposedly it's been getting better. But yeah, it's going to be delayed, which I'm totally fine with because as we've been talking about, there's tons of awesome stuff coming out this year.
Oh, yeah.
And Siege would be an awesome beginning of next year if we're running low on multiplayer stuff to play. Hey, let's all get into it then. Like, I don't think it's going to be the type of thing we're all going to buy on day one for sure. But it could be a fun, hey, it's on sale for $5 on Steam a year from now. We all get it, play together, something like that. That could be cool. So, last news item. Dave, why don't you run us through this?
Okay, I really want to at least go visit Bohemia Interactive, the devs of Arma and DayZ, because they just bought an actual T-72 Russian main battle tank. Although it's one of the Czech army's former T-72s. They're actually being mothballed, basically. It's a very old tank. I mean, it was brought into service in 1972, so it's coming up on it's 40 years old at this point. But they bought one, and it's now sitting on a concrete pad outside of their offices, like an actual T-72 turret, cannon, everything. And they have named it Adita, is the name of it. And
it's for research purposes, right?
Yeah, actually, they have a secondary studio that's just a motion capture studio. It's a secondary location. And they do a lot of business, like third-party business, out of the motion capture studio. So with this, as soon as the truck arrived with their tank on it, they took it out for like 3 days of like motion capture, and they did like physics recording of the tank treads, drove it through mud at like 60 miles an hour, like tearing stuff up. And I cracked up because they brought it back to the building like all muddied up. Like they went mudding in their tank, brought it back to the studio, rolled it off of the trailer, then got it stuck in mud, and then backed it across like those paving stones, like very, very common in Europe for like alleyways and stuff. They rolled it over a bunch of those and destroyed all of them because the treads on their T-72 are the actual steel treads, and they just ripped up all the paving stones, and they have to replace them now. But yeah, they own a tank now, an actual tank. And the other great part was, Chernarus, the fictional country where Arma 2 takes place, has full lore. It has a map. It has like a government, and it has an actual Chernarus flag. One of their employees had like a full-size Chernarus flag, and they were flying it from like the antenna on the T-72, jumping it through mud puddles. Like, the amount of nerdiness that was happening at Bohemia yesterday was pretty fantastic. Pretty glorious.
Only 10% more than normal.
Basically.
All right, it is now time for mail time.
Do we have any mail?
Mail time.
All right. Yes, we do. We actually got a couple emails, and one of them was really awesome from last week. I'm going to read this first. It's quite long. I once stood a heartbroken vigil over the body of a once great king of gaming. That king was Commodore, and around the same time that you gentlefolk were building nostalgic memories for your Nintendo consoles, young gamers in my region of the world were doing the same with Turrican 2, Lotus Spirit Turbo Challenge, Supercars, Flashback, Rick Dangerous, Syndicate, Midwinter, The Chaos Engine, Beneath the Steel Sky, a bunch of other games I don't know. Oh my god, there were so many games. Thank you, my liege. So I feel like I have something of an unusual perspective on this whole Nintendo issue. You see, to the best of my knowledge, I have never in my entire life played on a Nintendo. When I was young enough to still measure my age with a single digit, I had a friend with an Atari 2600, but I don't remember playing it much. Just some Donkey Kong and River Run. From that point on, there's been a gigantic hole in my knowledge of consoles until many years later when another friend of mine bought a PS2. Within that gap, all the world was pledged to Commodore. My family had a C64, and when my parents betrayed our beloved ruler and traitorously bought an Atari ST against my advice, it only took me 6 months of mowing lawns and washing cars to restore order to the realm.
Okay, so I thought the tank story was nerdy. This email is topping it. This is fantastic.
And an Amiga 500 of my very own. I never looked back, launching from the A500 to the A1000, A600, and finally A3000 with CD-ROM and hard disk until suddenly, shockingly, it was over. His Royal Highness Commodore Amiga, by divine right the ruler of all that was fun in the world, was dead. This is going to sound even more ridiculous than my tortured analogy, but in my little bubble it almost seemed like gaming would probably die then too. I mean, of course by that time I was aware that the Amiga wasn't actually the be-all and end-all of gaming, but it was quite literally the only thing I'd ever known. It was apocalyptic. Except that obviously it wasn't. In many ways, my gaming experiences kept getting better and better, right up to the present day. The king died, and yet the kingdom thrived. And so my question to you all is this. With the deepest regret for your situation, might it not be time to just let your king go? Mine died in his prime, the very image of martial vitality. This guy is well written. I love it.
This is fantastic.
But yours has become a senile old shadow of his former self. Paranoid, delusional, and constantly soiling the bedclothes. Let him pass on while some of the good memories of former joy and bounty are still untainted. Look at the kingdom around you. Won't it also thrive? Morpie, that's his name. In heart, if no longer in service, forever a loyal subject of King Commodore Amiga. P.S. Anyway, on a tangent, now that I think about it, and if I haven't dominated enough of your coffee break, not being exposed to consoles has pretty much insulated me from any Japanese influences in my formational gaming years. My influences, in contrast, were mostly British and German, since they were overwhelmingly the sources of Amiga games. Studios like Bitmap Brothers, Blue Byte, Core, Bullfrog, Delphine, they were French. Acid Software and the like. I still find it incredibly difficult to muster any enthusiasm for Japanese-style games because they just don't resonate with me. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, to his first question, no.
What was the whole story about? I didn't understand it.
He was a Commodore. Morpie was a Commodore player, and loved the Amiga. And what?
Is this a game?
Oh my! The Commodore 64 was a very early personal computer type thing, and the Commodore Amiga was an early gaming consoles. There were lots of them. I think it was kind of like the Ataris, and I don't know if you're familiar with those either, or Segas.
But I know those.
They were big, it burned bright, and it burned out, and Commodore died, and they're not around anymore.
Like Payday 2. It burned out quickly.
But he's saying, to him, he grew up only playing that. Like, the Commodore Amiga was his console. That's what he played. That was his world when it came to gaming. And when they died, he thought, well, this is it. Like, I'm done. And obviously that wasn't true. There are new amazing experiences to be had on other systems, other platforms. And he moved on and he found them, and he still loves gaming to this day. And he's asking, with the direction Nintendo's going, might this not be a bad thing for them just to die now? Go out while people still have fond memories of them, at least as like a hardware manufacturer, which I'm editorializing his letter a little bit. Maybe is it not time for them just to die rather than peter out like Sega did? And James says no.
Well, no, I mean, when you say it that way, it's different than just letting it die out. I mean, Amiga's just gone.
Right.
I mean, they're not making anything. Commodore's gone. They're not making anything. Nintendo should be like the phoenix. It should die, then it should rise up out of the ashes and become everything I want it to be. A company that makes games for people. No, I mean, yeah, they should. we said this last week, or I said it at least, I want them to get out of the console business and focus on making games. And if they want to do something, go mobile. So I think it's time for them to not die. I think it's time for them to have that midlife crisis and try something new.
Yeah.
And for the second question, what was the second question?
Hold on. I got to bring it back up again. The second question is, he doesn't have any enthusiasm for Japanese style games because he grew up playing European games on a different system. So because of that, so much during his formative years, he can't get excited about Japanese games. They just don't resonate with him. And he's curious, do we have any thoughts on that? I think it's pretty obvious.
Well, I mean, depends on what kind of Japanese games he's talking about. If he's talking about like Japanese RPGs or like
or Nintendo games, I mean, but
like games like Zelda don't have that same. I mean, they kind of do have like the kiddish dialogue, but it is still it's westernized Japanese, I think.
But it's still very different from Western-only studios. I get what he's saying. A lot of Japanese stuff honestly does not resonate with me at all. And that's why I find it hard to keep playing Nintendo games over and over again, because like the kind of cutesy, kidsy style, like I need more meat there. Like I need them to be a little more grown up about it sometimes. And Nintendo just doesn't have that. Like I'm fine with a broad mix, but they only have one kind of type of experience as far as the maturity level and their style. And that doesn't resonate with me like it used to. So I don't know
if they came back with a Metroid, I think they would do well. A legit Metroid. I mean, Axiom Verge is a really good, like indie developed in that same style game that's actually doing really well and got reviewed well.
Yeah.
So I think people are still interested in that type of game.
Oh no, tons of people are. But to his point, I completely agree. If you grew up not playing those types of games, I think especially Japanese games, which are a little more kidsy feeling, at least in their presentation, it'd be a lot harder to get into it as an adult, and I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't resonate at all. But second bit of mail is from FX Nerd, who says, do you guys do custom-built potato mashers for people who want them? If so, I would be highly interested in getting one because I just watched the GTA 5 video and it looks great. My PC only does 25 FPS at low settings. And the reason we're reading this piece of mail is no, we don't do custom potato mashers for people. And the reason is, one, I don't want to be shipping computers to people, but there's very little profit margin in building cheap gaming computers, which is why most people don't do them. You can build a gaming computer for very cheap, but because consoles are subsidized by every game purchase, they can be artificially cheap, and gaming computers cannot be. So we would never make any money building and selling potato mashers. We would just barely make money if we were building like $800 computers, and even then I wouldn't want to ship them. I'd only want to sell them locally, because it's not that a tiny profit couldn't be made. It's that as a working adult, I can make way more money doing basically anything else. You know, high-end
working at Dairy Queen.
I'm seriously, probably I could make a higher profit margin per hour, but you know, building gaming computers is only really worth it in the high-end space. So no, we don't do custom potato mashers.
And then you have to deal with like servicing and stuff like that. And
exactly. Like I don't. It's not that I couldn't. I just don't know. I don't want to. And then we have a hardware question. As always, write into casualshenanigans@gmail.com with your hardware questions, your thoughts on the latest podcast, anything else you want us to talk about. And Dave and I answer a lot of your hardware questions now on Casual Shenanigans Tech, which is our hardware-focused podcast, because we can go more in-depth than we can on this show. But we do answer hardware questions still on this show. This guy wrote in, Nick wrote in. I'm going to answer half of his question. He wrote in with two questions. I'm going to answer the second one. My wife is a PC gamer. Her PC is mainly for gaming. I want to upgrade her rig, but I don't know if I should upgrade the CPU or the GPU. She's a Witcher and Diablo player. She's completely played through The Witcher and The Witcher 2, and she really wants to play The Witcher 3, and I want to ensure she has a good experience with The Witcher 3 with very little performance issues running on medium or high. My budget for her PC is approximately $200. Her current build is a Phenom X4 955. That's a 3.1 gigahertz quad core. A GTX 650 Ti. 8 gigs of RAM, and a 600 watt power supply. Thanks a lot. So the reason I wanted to read this particular one on the podcast is this is like a very typical build for 5 or 6 years ago, like a nice entry-level gaming build. It's now been going on for a while, and she's ready to move up. Most definitely upgrade the graphics card. If you have $200, a GTX 650 Ti Boost 1 gigabyte is a pitiful card by today's standards, and I'm not making fun of it. I'm just saying that AMD quad core is still okay for gaming, but that graphics card, 1 gig of VRAM is not enough for many current games, and that graphics card is just very slow. So if you have $200, you could look at splitting it, get a used, 8350 or 8320 CPU and drop in there, but you don't really need to, because that processor, I'd plan on upgrading it maybe in another 2 years or so. But for now, for $200, the new GTX 950 is a pretty decent card. If you want the most bang for your buck, as always, you should go AMD, and you should get an R9 280 or 280X. You have your 600 watt power supply, it should run it fine if it's a decent power supply. If you want to stick with NVIDIA, get a GTX 960 or a 770 if you can find like a refurb. That would be an amazing card for under $200, which you can get them for now. But yep, as always, write into casualshenanigans@gmail.com, and we would love to get your mail. Now it is time for the Singularity Shame segment, a part of the podcast where we highlight somebody who just needs to be smacked in the face a little bit, and we do it. And I'm not going to name names because this is a person, not a company, not a faceless company.
Jeremiah, people on the internet aren't real.
Well, because I
have
don't
feelings.
I don't. You never want like a white knight brigade to go after somebody.
That never happens.
This guy on r/PC Master Race made a post, and I'm going to generalize it a little bit. He made a post basically saying he had an autistic younger brother, looked to be about 8 to 10 years old, who really likes playing Minecraft and a few other things. And, the typical games that kids that age like playing, TF2, Counter-Strike, Minecraft, stuff like that. And his computer was really slow and out of date. And he was basically asking for like, hey, is like anyone have any old stuff? Anyone can help us out? I'd love to upgrade his computer some. Well, AMD sent him a care package consisting of an R9 380, I believe, a AMD t-shirt, and a 27-inch 1440p FreeSync 144 hertz gaming monitor, a very nice gaming monitor. That's pretty cool of AMD. So what did this cool older brother do to help his brother out? Well, he put the graphics card into his case, and he put the monitor on his desktop, and gave his brother, the brother these things were destined for, one of his hand-me-down monitors, and didn't give him a better graphics card. His brother's rocking a HD 7750, which if you've never heard of it, it's because it's a really old card that's really slow, even when it was brand new.
Yep.
And when people on the internet, understandably, and he posted an Imgur album showing like all this cool stuff and didn't apparently realize what a douche canoe he sounded like. And then when people were like, hey dude, you're kind of a dick, he's like, I don't know why everyone's so upset about. My brother's computer isn't fast enough to run this graphics card. His power supply is not good enough. Like, I can't give it to him for that. So the GTX 660 that was in my computer, I'm going to give that to a friend of mine or sell it or something. And
just pause here for a second. Can we just appreciate the self-involvement it takes for you to create an Imgur album and post it to PC Master Race, basically showing off what you took from your little brother?
It's just a complete lack of self-awareness.
But he was so proud. Look at all these cool new monitors and graphics cards I've got that were sent to my brother. I carry on.
Yeah. So anyway, he basically goes, guys, I don't really get what the big deal is. Like, my little brother, he can come play on my computer anytime he wants to. It's totally not a big deal. Top comment on that was an AMD PR guy going, basically, this is really disappointing. When we saw the original post, we were excited to help upgrade a gamer. We didn't think we were going to be upgrading his brother to a triple screen setup, especially not with the parts that were gifted to someone else. If the power supply was really the problem, maybe you should have talked to us and we could have helped you out with that instead of just taking everything for yourself. People like you make it really hard to want to do nice things like this for the community.
that AMD PR burn scorches
every single one of my triggers.
Yeah, I was just like, oh my gosh, I just
Debbie,
can't.
is your cat avatar your face right now?
That's my final form right now. Like, that is me.
And then some people were commenting like, I've got a power supply, like, shoot, let's send it in. And then other comments were going, don't send it in, he's just gonna keep it for himself. Oh, it sucks.
I've got a special hard drive I'll send you. Feel free to hook it up. Make sure to run it on all your other drives too.
Felt like a lot of on it or something.
It's got like a lot of viruses on it.
Oh, okay. No, Debbie, don't. Sorry, never mind. I shouldn't have said that. Don't.
Oh.
All right. So it's now time for 90 Seconds with Jeremiah, a part of the podcast where Jeremiah fills in for Joel. Joel had a short film.
Hold on.
Yes.
Go do this. Do this.
Actually, James, why don't you talk about this? This is you're the person most qualified to talk about it.
Me and Debbie were there too, by the way.
Yeah, we were kind of watching it live.
Okay, all right. Sorry, all of you talk about it.
Okay. So, anyway, and so we actually talked about this on the last podcast a little bit, that we did a 48-hour film festival in the city that he lives in, and that Dave and Debbie also live in. So I don't want to go back over the whole process, but it was a lot of fun. But they did the screenings last night, and there were two different groups. There was, I think, 21 different contestants. Mm-hmm. And so what they do is they take the top, I thought it was supposed to be top 10, but they only did like top 6. So we did get into the top 6. So we'll find out what happens with that. But also with the particular group, our group got audience award or audience pick. So like what they did is they gave out things during the event, and people got to vote. And so yay. And so next week we find out from a list of different things like best actor, best sound, best original score, best use of the prop, best use of the line, blah, blah, blah. And then best of city goes to Hollywood to compete with all the other festival winners from around the country. So
awesome. And
we will post it.
Dave,
after.
Sorry, did you have something you wanted to chip in about that?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Debbie and I both got to go to the showing last night, and it was really cool. I'm glad I got to go to see the crowd reaction. Like, the crowd really responded to Joel's film. Like, it was awesome. The crowd got really into it. Like, there were parts where it was so cliche. Like, Debbie, do you remember when one of the first, like, I guess, surprise shots where, like, you kind of started putting the puzzle pieces together about what was going on? The crowd gasped, like, audibly, the whole theater.
Yeah,
they're like,
it was like a suction of air in your face. Like, everyone just sucking in air, like gasping.
Yeah, I honestly, I'm glad Joel showed me the clip today. He actually recorded just the crowd reactions during the movie, and it was really cool. He had He had a huge amount of, like, just cheering. Like, everyone started cheering at the end of his film. It was really cool. It went really well.
It's funny because when we were talking about doing the trailer, and like the posters and stuff like that, even like the different names of the characters, like the original name for your character, we had to go back and change just because we didn't want to give anything away about that little. I mean, it's a 5-minute video, so it's not a big plot twist, but it is a little bit of a plot twist. I didn't want to give any kind of hint, and so with the trailers, it was just really ambiguous on purpose to make people think, what is this film going to be about? So when you got there, it was going to be a fresh experience. You didn't walk in thinking, oh, I know it's going to be about this, and so it was fun.
What was so neat too, James, was with the beginning part of the film, and this is, I'll describe it in a way to not give it away for people who haven't seen it yet. Anything that Joel films is going to be ridiculous quality. Like, every shot is so carefully composed. The color work you guys did was amazing. And then you had Daniel's music. So the beginning of the film had this really great pacing to it. It was well shot. And the music was like buildings, but slowly. So even though, like, there wasn't a lot going on in the beginning, and there wasn't a lot people to, like, get invested in, but everyone was, like, totally silent in the theater, like, full attention, trying to figure out what they were watching, because it did look like, just the quality was so good. Everyone was really excited to see what was going to happen next, which is why, like, when the reveals happened, we had the actual gasping and whatnot, because people were, like, really into it by that point.
Was the quality of a lot of the other short films not good?
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to. There was a variety of quality.
There was golf claps after them, and Joel's was like a roaring, like, wave of ocean.
And his was probably shot on some of the cheapest equipment too.
Probably. Well, I don't know. Some of them had iPhones.
I mean, no. So a lot of people
iPhones are more expensive than Joel's DSLR if you buy them.
I mean, a lot of
That's
people.
true.
A lot of people shot with like GoPros and
Okay.
like had like little cameras hooked up to drones and stuff like that.
Yeah, a lot of drone shots.
A lot
But
of
there
drones.
was the opposite end of the spectrum. We did have like a Red Dragon camera.
Wait, really?
A Canon C1, yeah.
Oh my!
A Canon
I couldn't even see
C100,
that.
like some a little bit more expensive. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last film in particular, I think it was the I can't remember the name of the category, but it was a more serious film. Had some beautiful cinematography, and
I think it was Film de Femme or something.
yeah, I laughed because the closing shot, Debbie, with the sunset and the two main actors. As soon as that shot hit the screen, I heard someone behind me like gasp. They went, "Oh, that's a great shot!" Like right in the middle of the movie. But it was a really great shot. So there was thankfully some really good stuff too. But Joel's definitely got the crowd like reactions down pat.
Oh yeah. Well, his was really good because it had like in 5 minutes he had character development, a plot, like
Twists.
a twist, plot twist,
Oh.
and like a resolution to it. It was just like a really good, interesting story to watch.
And it had action, and it had funny
Yeah.
bits, and it just
Yep.
honestly, like, that category was perfect for Joel
Yeah,
for a 48-hour film.
They had to pick out a category like out of a hat, and he got the most perfect one for him: dark humor. That's pretty much
That's
Joel in a
Joel.
nutshell.
Joel didn't write any of the dark humor.
Well,
James
yeah, that's
did.
true.
James just sat at home and got angry and wrote stuff
Yeah.
down. Well, I mean, stayed angry and wrote stuff down.
I mean, yeah. I'm like the Hulk.
that's my
I'm always
secret.
angry. But now it was really weird, like doing an entire film remotely. Like
Yeah, that must
like-
have been interesting.
So like Friday night, like I'm like waiting for them to come back with the category and I mean how it worked is there was a category, and then you had to include a prop, which was a spoon. You had to include a phrase, which was "I wish I knew," and then you had to include a character named Jared Gibbons.
Yeah.
It was like
Jared. They actually got the name wrong. They didn't write it
There was
down,
like
so
a
they
camp
like made it
counselor. Like
last.
everyone had to have a camp counselor or a reference to a camp
Yeah.
counselor in it.
And so he like started throwing out ideas just based on like Joel's not here, so I won't say it. But this idea that Joel had about a chess game, I'm like, okay, I don't want to do a whole thing about a chess game. So we like actually started hashing out ideas, and we talked till about 2-3 in the morning that night. And then so we actually came up with like the scenes. We came up with like the flow. And then the other guy that worked on it, John, I won't say his last name, even though you'll find it out when we release it. Actually, we'll probably do an enhanced version with no last names. But so he did the initial script, and then they went and started shooting, and then I went through and like actually started working on all the dialogue. And so when Joel and John were there to actually start doing the dialogue, they set me up on like a little laptop so I could like watch the scene.
Yeah, it was amazing.
And like the words were on the TV screen because part of the thing takes place in front of on the couch. Like they were supposed to be watching TV, just like eating popcorn. And so they could see the entire script the whole time. So they had like this like 50-inch teleprompter.
Yeah.
And like
James on the laptop next to it, like barking out commands in the tinny, the tinny Skype voice.
but it was cool though, like with using Google Docs, like if we didn't like a line, we could change it and it would like immediately reflect on their like teleprompter-esque screen. So it was
That's pretty
fun.
cool.
And then Joel did the initial edit, and then we got up that next morning and we both went through like the edit hardcore and like move stuff, cut stuff. And then when we finally got it to where it was like we're not going to cut or move anything else, we sent it off to the composer, who did a fantastic job in like an hour and a half just writing
That was insane.
like this score that like just it was
perfect.
the intuition to like when to hit and when to pull off music, like it just matched the film so well. And then I started coloring it, and then I sent it back to Joel, and Joel put the color in, and the rest was history.
Sweet. Congrats, guys. We look forward to hearing
And,
how that goes.
That was awesome.
Definitely going next week when they do the other round. I want to see it again.
Yeah, I'm gonna be in town, Debbie.
Oh,
really?
nice.
You are?
Yay!
Yeah.
Next weekend?
No, it's not next weekend. It's next Wednesday.
Oh, actually, I'll be in town next weekend.
Do you want to take a midweek visit?
I don't know if I can because I'm
You
also
can
going to be
do-
there in the weekend.
You can do it, Jeremiah.
You can
That would-
stay.
I could stay.
Support your boys.
I'm
you can
coming
work. You
to-
work remotely anyway.
I'm coming to work with my boys. That's actually not a bad idea. I'll get back to you on that. Anyway, let's talk about. Seriously, remind me later. Game of the week. So last week, Joel recommended that we all try Knights of the Old Republic. And James has already beaten through it years ago, so James didn't need to play it again. And Joel, of course, has played it many times and didn't need to play it again. Dave and I both played it. Dave, what do you think about Knights of the Old Republic?
I think that 32X anti-aliasing runs pretty well on it. I dialed everything like as high as it would go. Honestly, I was surprised at how well it held up. It was 2001, right, James?
Yeah, it's really old. Gosh, I can't remember. I'll keep talking. I'll look it up.
I'm wondering how big.
04. It's 04.
Oh, okay. Oh, 04. That explains it. I was like, this is actually pretty advanced for 2001. I felt like. Wait, so it was 2004?
Yeah, but it's still. I mean, at the time. I mean, for that kind of RPG.
2004 was the year of Half-Life 2, though. That does not look as good as Half-Life 2.
But that's the year. But Half-Life 2, was a benchmark game.
That's
so
a good point.
Think of everything else that was out in 2004. It looks about regular.
I mean, I'm only an hour in, so my looting habits in RPGs. I just got through the tutorial intro ship section. I'm now on the planet finally. But yeah, it honestly holds up pretty well, and I could see myself getting into the story if I just had that spare 40 hours to invest into it.
So here's my thoughts. I can't do it.
It was not 2004. That was 2.
2002? Okay.
No, that was when part 2 came out. Part 1 came out in 2003.
Okay. All right. So it's close. I can't do it. The dialogue isn't horrible. The voice acting's horrible. The animation's horrible. It's very dated now. I can respect that it probably was amazing at the time, but for me, I already don't like really slow RPGs that it's hard for me to get, there's a high barrier that I have to go over to get into it at all. So the combat is miserable. I was
going to ask you about the
stuff
combat.
and wait combat. I can't, I've played Star Wars games from the 90s that had more fun combat than that. Combat, can't do it. Music, I guess, is cool.
It's Star
the graphics, I can only play it at 1600 by 1200 is the highest I can go. So on my screen, that doesn't look great. And everything is just clunky. It just feels very, very dated, and it doesn't hold up for me. So the story from what I've seen is interesting. But it would be an ideal candidate for a Knights of the Old Republic remake. I'd be very interested in that.
Have you played the mobile version?
I didn't know there was a mobile version.
Yeah, it's on mobile now, and it actually kind of looks a little more glossed.
Okay,
and
I'll look into it.
I mean, since you can use a screen, I mean, it controls a little bit better than the keyboard and mouse for that kind of game.
I might look into it, but the story seems cool, and I hear that the story is amazing in it, but I just can't get over everything about the gameplay. I can't stand.
Everything about the story grabbed my attention, but mentioning the combat, Jeremiah, so I kind of liked it because it's
kind of Witcher 1-ish.
It's Witcher 1-ish because
Witcher 1 was way better, though.
Witcher 1 came out way later.
It was, but for me, because it's so equipment based, it's basically you set up your equipment and then the game does the combat for you.
Dave, have you ever played Final Fantasy?
Probably shouldn't. I mean, it's just I'm already doing that in The Witcher 3, where I'm constantly looking for the sword that has an extra +4 that I'm gonna spend a bunch of money to craft just because it's +4. And
I'm an axe man now. We should talk about that later.
That's not lore appropriate, sir.
Yeah, but if you hack someone in half with an axe yet, it's fun. I still have a silver sword for monsters, which, I'm sorry, can we park there for a second? Why can't he just use a silver sword for people, too?
There's an answer for that.
Okay, I've just missed it in all the books.
Silver is a very soft metal. It's silver plating.
He doesn't want to wear it out. Okay,
it wears
makes
out
sense.
very quickly. It's very expensive to repair, and a steel sword would tear that sword up very quickly. So you don't want to do a sword clash silver on steel.
You only fight against people without swords when you have a silver sword.
And he actually does that in the book. He uses the silver sword on people who can't really fight back.
Nice. Okay.
Wow, that's a weird tangent. Back to Knights of the Old Republic.
Anyway, Knights of the Old Republic.
I had to answer that question twice this year, actually, from people like calling me out on the two swords thing.
I don't think it's a call out. I didn't understand why, because I missed that explanation. But
I guess unless you think about it, it is kind of like, wait, is this just because? Or
yeah, which just because is a fine enough reason for me. But
I mean, it's a video game. Just because
anyway,
happens all the time.
Back to the game of the week suggestion, where each of the hosts suggests a game that the other hosts have to try. This is James's week to suggest.
Yes. So I'm going to suggest you guys play another game that has an old feel, but it is actually a recent release.
Is it a game we all own?
No, but you could probably do share play or something like that. Okay. It's Shovel Knight, which is
okay.
Mm-hmm. I haven't seen it on sale recently on like Steam or anything, but hopefully it'll go on sale soon. But it's just really fun. I would say it's one of the games that best captures the old school feel. Like the music is just, it doesn't get tiring. The graphics, they look good enough. Like, I mean, it's obviously 1080, but the old style graphics don't look bad. But you feel like you're playing an old game. It's just, the mechanics are great. The jumping's great. It's a really, really well done game. I think IGN gave it a 9 out of 10 when it released. So, nice. Shovel Knight.
Shovel Knight. We will all try it before next week. And it's by try, we mean a significant try, like at least a couple hours.
It's got loot.
All right. I'll try. All right. James, what else do we have for the rest of the podcast, Mr. Host? Or Dave and James sharing Mr. Hosting duties?
Do you want to say it at the same time?
Say what?
We have a comment of the week.
I think this was Jeremiah's. I'm pretty sure.
It was mine. All right. So this guy left a comment. I forget what he left it on, but he left this comment and said, "Could I play this before getting a new PC? I have a Radeon R9 270, 4 gigs of RAM, Core 2 Quad, Q9 550. That's pretty normal." But then he goes, "Intelligent answer, please. Thanks." Like, what does that mean?
Unlike your usual answers, you moron.
I go, blah, 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 but I can't play Nigel. Like, what am I going to say?
Well, first you have to make sure you have hyper thrashing turned on when you're playing.
James, I used that word like 7 times in the last tech podcast. I love that word now. It's fantastic.
It's getting old.
I love it.
No, it'll never get old.
All right. We'll see.
So if you want to write into the show, you can write in at casualshenanigans@gmail.com. You can also write us on Twitter at casualshenanigans.
It's like someone punches you in the throat halfway through the Twitter.
That's with an A, not a
You can go to our website. We're going to be hosting all our videos on there after the podcast and stuff. And we'll probably be putting some new content on there when we ever get a chance to, when Dave puts down Arma 3.
What do you mean putting new content on the website? I'm putting stuff on there like all the time.
We're actually, James, going to have an Arma like portal on the website so people can do like the Arma 3 sync to get the mod pack and like as calendar for when we're playing and stuff like that too. Sometimes, no, I won't say soon. Sometime. I almost said soon. I know better.
So yeah, we'll go to our website, casualshenanigans.com. You can also go read our little teeny profiles and stuff. Yay. We also have a Facebook page that has no likes yet. Come on, guys.
I didn't know we were publicly sharing that yet. That might explain.
Yeah. Well, Joel might make a video getting people to like the Facebook video.
No.
Yes.
Like the Facebook page. Also, we have our YouTube channel, Casual Shenanigans. If you guys are watching live, then you know where it's at.
James, if someone wants to watch live, how should they do that? A lot of more people have been watching live on YouTube. We actually have had a nice uptick since we went to YouTube streaming, and we've had a lot of people say they really like being able to watch at different quality levels.
Come out Thursday nights. You can watch the pregame show where we figure out what to talk about during the real show.
We argue about microphones and lighting settings and...
Well, that's when we have to pretend like we're all still friends. We like get back into the feel of it till it feels natural, and then we can.
Everyone starts smiling all of a sudden. Podcast time.
We won't be releasing the after show. Don't worry. No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, find us on Facebook, YouTube, and Germ Gaming. If you would like to see some of Jeremiah's cool videos, including his upcoming series with Singularity 80. on Forza Horizon 2.
Well, we weren't saying what it was yet, but fine, it's about Forza.
Or the current series with Dave and Total War. Surprise! It's Total War.
You mentioned it during the car segment.
I did.
You were talking about you guys are playing Forza 2.
Well,
You did.
I hinted.
Yeah,
No,
Alright.
you hinted
It's
at
out
you said the
there.
name.
I retract my statement. I apologize.
It's too late. It's live.
I apologized though.
So if you guys
That
want to
takes it
unsubscribe
back.
from Jeremiah's channel,
do
or
it. I get
hit the
enough
down
threats
thumb.
about do
Come
it.
to
Just
the
do
light.
it. I'll put it out of the potato
have
masher
Irma.
video. You come crawling back. They all do. Come tell me I'm wrong.
You're also on Twitter, Germ Gaming.
Come tell me I'm wrong there too.
As the internet does.
And Dave has a YouTube channel, Evil Viking 13, and he has a Twitter, Evil Viking.
For confusion's sake, yep.
And yeah, hopefully we'll all be back next week.
That's dark.
James, how bad is Shovel Knight?
I mean, you know, you guys might not make it to the podcast. You're like, I gotta beat this level. Come on, I can do this.
So we're talking a trial scenario here.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, I think it was last week. It was literally like 5 minutes before the podcast started. I'm like, I really got to quit this game and go get on the podcast now.
That's awesome.
So no, hopefully Joel will be back next week, and since I'll be out of town, I should be still on the podcast. Worst case scenario, I'll make it. I'll make it at Joel's house.
How long are you going to be in town?
I was planning on being there, like just coming in like Wednesday morning after my speeding ticket court date,
and then leaving when?
probably Thursday, the middle of the day, to make it back in time for the podcast.
Gotcha.
But we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
I'd be coming Friday midday. Ships passing in the night.
Or you can come Wednesday and join your buddies.
We'll see. I had some meetings I had to push this week, so we'll see what happens. But
We'll push them a little harder.
okay. All right. With that, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking the podcast. It really doesn't help us in any measurable way, but it feels good. So keep doing it. And if you really want to like us, support us on Patreon, because money means love.
That's what my father always said.
Too many
Debbie, give us the call before we go.
What call?
You know the call.
You know.
Oh, okay. That call.
Yes.
I love that. It never gets old.
Stay goaty.
Oh, man.